Okay. DeFi Damsel. I think she's just finished the other AMA. Okay, shouldn't be too long. How's everyone going anyway? Did you have a good day, guys? Girls? I hope so. Oops. Rose muted you, Crypto Bishop. Let me unmute you. She thought you were spamming. Okay, there you go. We have DeFi Damsel here. Fantastic. You are unmuted. DeFi Damsel, welcome.
Yes, hi everyone. Hi, I was just finishing up another AMA, so over with Sieno and Whale Watchers. So I apologize for my tardiness, and we were having too much fun over there, but now we're going to bring it over here and continue it.
Fantastic, thank you. No, we were aware that you've been in and out of AMAs for the past few hours, so there's no problem at all. But yeah, it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it's so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So,
Pleasure.
yeah, did you want me to just go ahead and get started and tell you a little bit about the project, or do we want to wait?
My questions are very similar to the questions that Shauna would have asked you on Ping Sale a couple of hours ago. So I think that first of all, our community wants to know a little bit about yourself, please. And a little bit about your background, how you go into crypto, and then why you decided to create Sifu Inu.
Sure, yeah, let me just tell you guys all about it. So, my background is I managed a $12 billion B with a billion with a B treasury for Toyota Motor Sales, not the dealerships and not the assembly lines. And I am an accountant, and finance and accounting was my background, so that's my real world experience. And my experience with DeFi, I've been in DeFi for a little over a year. I unfortunately got burned when I first got into DeFi. I came over and I got my fingers burnt a little bit. The first thing that I did was I was trying to buy this one particular token, and I came over and I bought it, and it was a scam contract address. So it was only $5, but I'll never forget it. You know, my first experience was like a bad experience. Is like, oh man, I just lost $5 because I was doing like a test sale, right? Because it took me like 6 hours to get up to that point, right? Just nothing is easy to get on the Binance Smart Chain in the United States. And so anyway, so I got there and I finally had my BEP20 token, and yeah, and boom, it's like $5 is gone. I'm like, oh great. So I'm like, okay.
Is the deepest.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, right? I'm like, oh great, this is like a perfect example. So then I go over so I get the right contract address. I come back over and I buy the right token, and then I just fell victim to a bunch of false promises. Oh, we're getting Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg's like, you know, I'm gonna do this tweet, and this person, and this influencer, and that influencer. All the while, I'm sitting here holding a bag. I got sort of suckered in, FOMO'd in with all the hype and everything to buy a big, huge bag, and I was a VIP and all this stuff or whatever, and they slowly drained the liquidity out, and then I was just ended up holding like this bag of like worthless stuff. So that was my first experience. I'm like, oh great. So then I decided I needed to learn all this, and so I just studied really hard and got up every day and like did all this, and you know, invested and did some, you know, the leveraging and all this stuff, and really learned DeFi pretty well, and went over to the Avalanche blockchain, and I invested in these things, and I fell victim to it again. But this is my most recent fiasco that sort of inspired me to create Sifu Inu. Was I invested in these things called DAOs. Now,
Oh,
In,
yeah.
in DeFi, there's something different. DAO means decentralized autonomous organization, and a lot of cities use them to sort of, decide on a name for the new park or like that kind of thing, where people can come in and vote. But in DeFi, they were sort of like this slang term for rebasing projects with these very high APYs, inflationary rebase products. So every 8 hours, you would get like a reward. So it's a reward token every 8 hours, and you would get paid, a certain percentage of your reward tokens, and it's usually like 10% every like 9 days or whatever. So anyway, so some of them, they ended up being too inflationary because they had a minting aspect to them. So they would mint into oblivion and the price would go down to nothing. And people with a lot of money would buy in. Like one of the projects I was in, they would rebase at 2 p.m. my time every day. So I'd see these millionaires, coming in with $1 million and buying in 2 minutes before the rebase, and then selling right after the rebase period had ended, making $20,000, and then just dumping it in, and switching it into stable coins, and never really feeling the effect for the people that held it. So I lost a considerable amount of money holding and doing sort of what I consider to be the right thing, and playing the game. It's game theory tokenomics. Like I feel that I did the right thing. So I got burned, and there was some lying going on with the team. The head of the team was very charismatic and came online and said, they were transparent and all this stuff, and I believed him. And there was some lies going on, and when those lies got uncovered, the price tanked, and it's never recovered, and it's inflationary, so it's just like gone into nothing. And I unfortunately bought the high, and so I sat around and I'm like, okay, with my analytical brain, how can I fix this? Like, what could fix the problems? So I got on the horn with a really good friend of mine, and we were like, okay, so because he lost some money as well, I'm like, okay, so what could have fixed it? Could this do it? Could randomized, airdrops do it? Could this fix that? And after like 5 hours of talking, and we're like, yeah, I think we could like nail pretty much most of it, right? And he's a big like lottery guy, and so we kind of like talked about, like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna win the lottery. I'm like, you're never gonna win the lottery. Your probabilities are that. So I bring out my accounting brain or whatever. Anyway, I usually just watch Netflix and chill, but like that night, I particularly went onto the boob tube, and I turned on, and what happened to be on was the game show Deal or No Deal. And I don't know if you guys have it where you are, but it's this game show where a contestant comes on and they open different suitcases at different time intervals, and like one will be a 0 and one will be like $750,000, and then based on how many different suitcases have been opened, the banker calls. And the banker will be like, oh, I'm going to make you an offer, if you quit the game right now, if you quit the game right now, we'll give you this much. And so basically I was like, whoa, this would be a great idea for our project that I just created this afternoon, So I woke up the next morning and told my friend, and he's the lottery guy. I'm like, hey, what if we did like no deal or no deal? We like did like open up suitcases, and every day was like either an airdrop or like burning out of supply to like mess with supply and demand to create volume. He's like, yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm like, okay, Sifu Inu was born. The name, so I'll just like take this opportunity now. So the name Sifu means master or teacher. I'm a huge teacher, and one of the things I'll talk about like a little bit later is how we're going to grow the project, and it's going to be through a lot of teaching aspects and getting people over, like Americans who have trouble buying Binance, BNB, like bringing them over. But that I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But yeah, so Sifu means master or teacher, and then Inu in Chinese, and then Inu means dog in Japanese. So we've got like a master teacher dog. And I was born in the year of the dog. I'm, my Chinese sign. So like I'm a master teacher dog. So that's kind of where the name comes from. And it's kind of silly. And then we got a little like karate aspect, going on of it, because it's very, Sifu is known in the, in the martial arts world as well. So that's kind of where it was. And we got the Inu, the Shiba Inu dog or whatever. So massive
Awesome.
dog.
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's where that name comes from. Yeah. And
that's great.
That's great. If I can I show you guys? Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing a game. I love games. I'm a poker player. I mean, for fun, I just play it for fun. But it's a very strategic. It's actually in California. It's legal here, even though we can't gamble. Poker is actually a game of skill, so you actually have to use a skill. There is some luck involved as well, but if you do it right, anyway. I digress. I'm a huge game player. I love this game. So I'm like, you know what? What could be fun? So this Deal or No Deal is really fun. So also with my economical brain, I'm like, okay, let's mess with volume and supply and demand kind of thing. And so I'm like, okay, let's do a probability. Now, because of manipulation, being in Southern California, like I am in the United States, we have the SEC that governs, everything. And their rules are very simple. Basically, you have to have a product that you can't change. And it all has to do with the second rule is number one is it's manipulation. You cannot have manipulation. It's against the law. If there's any kind of manipulation, it can be, it's just illegal. And it's fair. I mean, that's a true investment. You don't want to be investing in something that's being manipulated by somebody else. So with lotteries and bingo and that kind of thing, it's all done live and drawn on live TV. So I was like, well, how am I going to make this work? So I was like, okay, well, I think what we can do is go live on YouTube every day and then pull a rabbit out of a hat, pull whether it's an earn or burn, and then pull keeping with the sort of martial arts theme, a scroll. We're going to unravel a scroll amount every day. And that will be, on an earn day, you'll get and I did funny numbers, you guys will see in a minute, but I did a lot of 420s and 69s just because I have kids and they think that that's the hilarious number or whatever. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, because it's a meme token, it's a, kind of a meme, a joke. So we got to make some funny, and accountants don't get a lot of opportunities to make very many jokes, so you gotta put them in where you can. So funny numbers, okay, if there's a funny number, right, we'll do it. So anyway, so yeah, so I had so I was like, well, we're gonna do an open scroll and an earn or burn day and play with that, and we'll just pull it out of a hat. How should we do it? Well, fast forward all the way up until today, or 2 days ago, I finally found this really cool thing. And if I can share my screen, I could show it with you guys really quick.
Please
okay.
Do.
Awesome. Let's see. I think I can do it right here. I'm getting better at this. I know. Okay. So I created earn and burn wheel and a scroll wheel with our logo in it. So yeah. So awesome. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So, and now before I get started, I'll show you guys here, and this is all on Google Docs publicly. And so all of the results are going to be stored publicly. And if you want to nerd out, you'll be able to go on my YouTube channel and look at what every day is and compare and make sure that there's, no manipulation, but it's all going to be recorded live. And every day around noon my time, I will be doing a snapshot every day of all the token holders. But I've come in here and it's a 60-40 split, 60-40 earns and 40% burns. And I will take one out of this amount every day. Now people always ask, oh, okay, well, why is it why don't you just do 6 earns and 4 burns? And my answer to that question is then that's just the probability. This is letting the universe decide. This is, I have, 60%, right? Like what if the universe decides I want to do 400 burn days in a row or what? I don't know. Well, that's not even possible. But 30 burn days in a row, 30 earn days. Then people will come in and try to guess and they'll buy more or they'll buy, or maybe not take profits then or whatever. You know what I mean? It's a game. And so you can really nerd out into the statistics and probabilities by having all that online. But anyway, I digress. Let's spin the wheel. So we're going to come in here and every day live on YouTube, I'm going to spin it.
Yep.
See if it's an earn. Earn! Woohoo! This is our first earn. So this is actually my real live one that I'm going to use. And so I would, if this had been an actual live YouTube first earner burn or a real earner burn, I would remove it. And then it would come through and take it out of that list that we just looked at. But since it's not, I'm going to go ahead and just close out of this screen. Okay, so now we know we're earning, you guys. So this is the amount of airdrop you're going to get. And now we come to the amount. So we're going to go to the scroll amount wheel. And if you see, like I told you, I put in some like funny numbers. So like instead of 0, I put like 69 or 420s, like a couple zeros in there, you know. And then they just get funny, like 420, 69, 1,420,069, 69, like just like funny stuff, whatever. People who have tween boys will understand this. Anyway, or who have ever had one, right? Okay, so the big one is 100,420,069. So that's the big sort of like lottery, like big winning number that we're going for. But there's some other big ones as well, and you can go and look at them, and they sort of represent the suitcases in Deal or No Deal, but we call them scrolls. So okay, here we go. Big money, big money, big money, big money, big money. And let's see what it is. 420,69. So it's not one of the bigger ones, but it's, you know, it's still an amount, right? Yeah. And so I would go through and then based on your holdings, I would do the percentage of the total amounts, the 420, and then I would find out everyone's percentage, and then I will airdrop them. And then, so how you guys can track this is, let me just show you. I'll walk through it live with you guys real quick. So you can come to our website, sifuinu.io, and we're going to put a button in here too, so it'll make it easier. But currently right now, it's sitting in the FAQ section on how does the daily drawing work. There's a little green button here, and you can click here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to just strike through live. Now, you guys can all see this, but you won't be able to edit it. So you could probably save a version of it and edit it as you want. Okay, I'm an expert at Excel, but Google Sheets is new to me. So, okay, Alt-Shift-5 is the strike through. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to come to the scroll, and we got 420,69, right? Okay, so Alt-Shift-5, strike through, right? Did it work? No. Shift. I think I did the control. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to come over here to this sheet, and I'm going to say earn, and I'm going to say 420,069. And then we're going to go like airdropped at 5 or whatever. So just a little note so people can come in here and check, hey, you know, I didn't see it. I don't really want to get on YouTube. I know I can just go to the website. Oh, she airdropped it. So then you could go and check it, whatever kind of thing. So, yeah, so that's kind of how the earns and burns are going to work. Let's see.
And the great thing about this is that it's transparent. Everyone has got access to it as well. They can see what's happening.
Yes, exactly. Everything will be made public. And if you want to nerd out, I was saying, like, you know, in my last AMA, like, you know, some of the people like are, you know, like me, like super nerds, and will want to like Star Wars out on it, know every single like detail, and like, okay, you could go back to the YouTubes and say, okay, well, it was this and that and this and that, and you can see the results and kind of play around and make projections based on prior history and financial projections and that kind of thing. And the strategy would be to, okay, so that's the earns and burns. Now, if I can, I will talk a little bit about the tokenomics, if that's okay.
Please do, yes.
Okay, so the tokenomics are basically, They're taxes. So there's nothing to buy. It costs you nothing to buy, but it costs you 20% to sell. We're doing this to encourage hodling. We want you to hold the most Sifu as possible, and that's how you will really win in this game, is if you buy, and then I'll talk about it in just a minute, but there's 2 airdrops for this. So you just saw one, the earn airdrop, and when you get that airdrop, it'll accumulate your bag, and the bigger your bag grows, the higher percentage of the airdrop you get. But there's also one that's built into these taxes where I'm going to take 6% of all of the taxes collected of the 20%. So 6% of the 20% will go towards a B&B airdrop. So you're not only getting Sifu airdropped, you're also getting B&B airdrop to you. So the B&B airdrop, when that hits, ideally it would be a good idea to invest in it so you have a bigger bag, so when the next when the next earn comes and hits, then you'll get a larger percentage, and then you'll also get a larger percentage of the B&B. So it kind of like works like that. If you keep reinvesting, you're going to keep getting more and more and more and more. You could literally, we have a promotion going on right now where you could literally start with $0 and just grow a bag and grow like a big bag. You can follow us on all the socials. We have 6 social medias. It's in our Telegram, and we'll get airdrop $10 for free, and then like based on that you could get a little bit of B&B, and you could invest that and buy that, and you could literally like grow it into everything, into something from nothing. So that would be the strategy with that. So out of the 20%, 8% is going to go straight to liquidity. And so that was really important number that I had to put in there. And I wanted to make it really high, because if you have whales that come in and they like buy and they and they just dump, like you have to have some liquidity in there in order for other people to be able to sell and to create volume and that kind of thing. So I wanted to create a sort of an extra good padding of liquidity in there. So 8% of all sales will go straight into liquidity. And so that leaves 12% left. So 6% I just talked about will go for the B&B airdrop. So 6% of all the taxes collected will go towards the B&B airdrop that will be made once weekly at a random time. So that's going back to what I was talking about earlier of how it's really important not to like know when these rebases are going to happen. And by rebate, whether it's a reward, it's a reward basically. Whether you call it a rebase or whether you call it an airdrop or whatever, you're basically getting a reward amount, right? And if it's on a timely schedule and you only have to be in it to win it, and you can just buy in it at that time, then the game can be, it can be totally like,
manipulated.
It's a hack, right? With me, I'm going to totally do it randomized. Like it might be like at Friday night at 7:57 p.m., or it might be like Monday afternoon at 12:20. Like you never know when it's going to be. It just has to be before midnight my time. I'm -8. There's a whole thing about daylight savings time. I used to be -8, but after this weekend, now I'm -7, I think it is. So it'll happen I think it's 7 a.m. UTC. So there will always be one weekly airdrop. So if it hasn't happened yet and you're taking some profits, you better buy back in, because you'll miss it if you're not in it. You got to be in it to win it. So I designed all of this because I had problems with the rebases. This is just a huge problem, that if it's not randomized and you don't know when it's going to happen, because you never know when I'm going to take that snapshot, then it could be manipulated. I mean, to me, that's kind of like manipulation. Anyway, so I fixed that problem. And okay, so that's the airdrop. And then I have a buyback feature. So when we get into it a little bit, okay, so I have 2.5 billion tokens in maximum supply. And I'm going to make, a diagram of the tokens and the circulating supply and how it all goes. But right now, the supply is limited. I literally, I'm a self-admitted nerd. I literally binge watched advanced placement, microeconomic videos on YouTube for the past 2 days in supply and demand. I'm like, I really am like fascinated by economics.
Lovely.
I know. Yes. I'm a ball of fun, right? But one of the things that I like really like was inspired by was like, you know, like what really takes like makes it shift. What happens when supply goes down? Okay, price doesn't shift. Price just moves along the thing, right? And what do we want? We want the price to go up, right? So supply is down, then price, you know, goes up. So if we burn some of these things, so everyone talks about like burns being bad. I don't have a lot of tokens. A lot of them are, you know, they're already like, you know, they're pretty much, you know, a lot of them are going to be out there. So I'm only going to offer 19% at the sales. So the rest will be sort of like for the future use and something that I'm going to announce in a minute, and I just have them in sort of different buckets because I don't want somebody to be able to come in, which is another thing I'm going to talk about in a minute, and just sort of like buy up all of this, make the price go up, and then make it go down. So I have this buyback feature, and originally I was going to do a buyback and burn, but I think with all of the burns, I think we're going to be burning enough out of supply, so I might just buy back some tokens and put it in the future. But let's just say we open a huge suitcase. So these are sort of like all these sort of like what if scenarios that I created in my head, like, okay, well, what if this happens? You know, how can we fix it? What if this happens? And I feel like I've covered most of them, but it's a sort of a safeguard. So the buyback feature is something that we can do, and we can come in, and it's just an accumulated amount that we can come in and we can say, hey, if that 100 million suitcase is an earn and it gets airdropped to everybody and the price goes down because of it, I'll have this like sort of like buyback fund that I could come in and buy it back and then sort of like either lock it away or, you know, do something where it's just sort of taken out of circulating supply and just put back into maximum supply to sort of like ensure that the price is not like goes like totally down. So that's a cool feature that I added. So the buyback feature, and that's 2%. And then I think we're at 2% is going to be for marketing, and marketing is really important. Like I said, I work for Toyota Motor Sales, and so you know, the Japanese have a really cool sort of like way that they treat their workers. It's much different than many other parts of the world. They believe that the whole worker will be a better worker if they're happy in all areas of their life. So we would do like all these crazy like training classes at the University of Toyota. We would go to like have drum circles with upper management with incense burning at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon kind of thing, and like, you know, just like team building experiences, and do like The Secret where positive affirmations, where, you know, that kind of thing. And but they also included us in a ton of marketing stuff. So Toyota, when I worked there, was the 5th biggest company in the entire world, and they spent $1 million on marketing a minute. And sort of this is sort of like the philosophy where I grew up, where I sort of like, you know, learned, where I learned so much there, and I just sort of brought that, and that's a tool that I bring with me into my toolbox, is that I was experienced and exposed to all these wonderful like marketing abilities by the 5th biggest company in the entire world that had probably the most successful marketing in the entire world as well. And you couldn't go anywhere without seeing like a Toyota logo on a cup, or like, you know, at a sporting event, or right. So or on your car. Yeah. They're global, right? You know, I mean, it's a Japanese company, but I worked for Toyota Motors. But the cool thing is they'd bring us into this marketing events, and they'd be like, hey, check out our new commercial. Or, you know, they would talk a lot about buy pressure. Like when we had, in 2007, there was this thing called the Runaway Prius, and this guy, he ended up being a fraud, and he was faking that his car was stuck. He had it taped down or something like that. But anyway, we had to deal with some sort of bad press, and Toyota, you know, just went on and spent like $1 million in research and development, and cut the pedals and made the floor mats like, you know, screwed down, and just really like, you know, did so many things. But they advertised, and they just educated everybody to death, and just like to let them know, you know, there's their thing is there's no best, only better, continuous improvement. And that is, to me, was the biggest takeaway. It's a Japanese word. It means kaizen. No best, only better, continuous improvement. So you're always continuously, you're always looking at things. Like another thing was Ginsu Gambichu, which is go look, go see. So like, what you want to do is, like, they don't believe that somebody should be, commanding a war and on top of the, whatever from a telephone. They should go down to the trenches. They should go and see what's going on. And so that's the kind of like sort of environment that I grew up with and that I saw. Like, I mean, they do so many fun things with marketing. They would like, one time they're like, hey, look, we're doing this new thing called guerrilla marketing. So they'd go to sort of like impoverished areas or whatever, and like they'd get like a Toyota logo and they'd like spray paint it on a construction zone or something like that. So it's like graffiti, like Toyota graffiti, like guerrilla marketing, and so marketing is so important. So for me, I'm like, for sure, I definitely want to like have like the most advantageous marketing that we could possibly have, and so I've allocated like 2% to go to that, and I think that's important. And so marketing, and I want to do a lot of education too. I really want to get the word out to like a lot of Americans, because it's difficult. Like, without a VPN, we can't buy on Binance. BP20 tokens are harder to come by, and so I also love teaching, and so I'm going to be doing videos on my YouTube channel and have that out there on whiteboards. So it's really easy, like 5 steps here: do this, and this, and sort of like educate people to keep bringing in new faces, because the product will continue to grow if we do that. So that's the 2% for marketing. And then the last 2% is for, and I call it team, but it's not really team. It's more like just Sifu, because it's just regular business expenses. So I guess I'll announce right now, so with the development of this token, I put in some amazing features, and one of them is just, I owe it to like Pinksale so much, because they have, hands down the best, anti-bot, so many features that I just have like totally just delved into so much, watched all the videos. I love them. I've learned so much from them. You made them, right? Did you make the videos?
Those videos are great, except for the commentator. He's an absolute tool.
He's rubbish. Just kidding. I've been watched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I know that voice. Anyway. But so I'm watching the anti-bot video. I learned so much, and I went and added it into the code, so it's in my code, so we can come back and do one anytime we want. And I think I strategically figured out a good one, but I might want to get your thoughts on it. I might have to ask you something. But basically the idea is that that we've put in, a certain amount of buying. You can only buy like a certain, like $50 or $100, like right off the bat, and a little bit gets added, and only for 60 seconds. Every 60 seconds you can't buy. And there's these bots out there, and they literally pretty much ruin every single project that exists now. I mean, they just look, and like 300 times a second, they'll come in and they'll be like, are you open? 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 And then, and then when the minute you open, it just buys up tons. It buys up everything that it possibly can, right? And then it waits, and then the price goes up, right? And so everyone goes, oh, wow, this is going to be a great project. The price is up, blah, blah, blah. But it's like artificially inflated from these bots. And then the bots come in, and then the FOMO people, the real people come in, and then they dump, and, and then everybody's just sort of left like holding the bags, and then the price jumps, and it's just horrible. So it's so awesome that we have this sort of, availability to us now, and that we put it into our project to prevent this from happening. So it's so awesome. And so we have this. We have it right into we use the GitHub, we have all the right coding, and I tested it and it works. So so that's super exciting. Cool. And then the other exciting part that I've added to this is so the developer who actually wrote the code, he is from Nigeria, and he and I had a little bit of a not a language barrier, but just the way that we say words a little bit differently, kind of like, me and Australians, that kind of thing. But yeah, so I said I wanted like to be able to do vesting. And he thought that I meant investing. So in the code, when he was showing me, all the code or whatever, he's like, "Oh yeah, here's the investing. Let's test this." And so I was like, okay. I'm like, wow, this is not vesting. This is investing. This is staking. So I'm like,
oh wow,
we have a staking code in there now? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and I make dApps. So I'll make an application for you guys, a staking application. So all the people who have their Sifu can get an extra reward for staking their Sifu on the application that will be developed within like a week of launch as well. So that's my exciting news. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, and so yeah. So now we have a staking capability. So it's like super exciting. So it's just going to be an extra like way to earn. So it's like actually 3 ways. You have both the airdrops and then the staking rewards as well now. So it's I don't know. They were laughing at me in the last AMA because they're like, your smile, like you just can't stop smiling. And I'm like, I know, I can't help it. It's like too exciting. I'm just too excited and too happy about this product. And like, I pinch myself because I'm like, I can't believe like I get to wake up and do this every day. I'm like finally doing something that like I love, like waking up every day and like being like, I'm so excited to do debits and credits, like it just, as an accountant, that just didn't really happen very often. Although I'm so grateful for the experience, and anybody who's owned a business or who owns a business will know this is true, that you have to learn accounting. Whether you want to or not, you have to. And whether you even know that you're doing accounting or not, financial statements, balance sheets, your assets, your cash. I mean, that's all accounting, right? Whether you even know it's accounting or not, you have to learn it. So I'm so glad that I have this like amazing, expertise, and I bring my Toyota experience and everything to this project. But the passion wasn't there, and this is fun. Like I created a fun game every day. Like you're gonna check, did I earn today? What did I get? The airdrops are fun. Like, oh, dude, I got like $50 BNB. Like you're at your kid's soccer game or whatever. You're like, oh, wow, I just got an airdrop. And I don't know. I tried to create something that would be fun, that I think would be fun to be a participant in, and I would get excited about, and I feel like I've done it. I guess time will tell, but yeah. So
that's awesome. That's right. That's
pretty much it in a nutshell.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. So when is the pre-sale?
So the pre-sale is March 16th. It's a fair launch. Sorry. So
it's a fair launch.
Everybody. So if anybody has any questions about that, there is a big difference between fair launch and pre-sale because we had some confusion last time.
I just saw your soft cap.
Oh yes. Okay. Yes, I know. It's the boys thing. So I know. It's so funny. So my soft cap is 69 BNB. Okay. So everybody, the soft cap is 69 BNB. I think we should meet that fairly easily. I thought it was funny. I was like, I was talking to my marketing manager, and he was like, should we do 100 BNB? I'm like, let's do 70. And I go, no, we got to do 69. Keep the joke running. He's like, yes, okay, that's hilarious. Okay. So, so it's a fair launch, everybody. So for anybody who's not familiar with a fair launch is where you send a set amount of tokens. And I'm really good at guessing it. I'll just say the last time that I did it, we got it perfect. I mean, nailed it to the T. This might go a little bit over depending on how successful we're going to be. It was hard to judge on the Avalanche Smart Chain and Avalanche Chain Network. But here, I think we might have a little bit more. But I sent 420 million tokens, and if we sell 550, BNB, it'll be right around the same price as 0.0005. And that's like a projection. It depends on what the market does that day, that kind of thing. But I think it's I'm pretty good at at making projections. So it's a pretty solid price point. But I said, so our soft cap is, you only, and in fair launches, you guys, you only have to meet the soft cap. There's no hard cap. It's just how many BNB gets spent, then that determines the price when it closes, and it's 24 hours long. And so it opens at 6 p.m. UTC time, and then it closes on the 16th, and then it closes on St. Patrick's Day, the 17th. Aaron Gobra, just kidding. I'm a little bit Irish, but isn't everybody? Anyway, so the 17th, it closes at 6 p.m. UTC as well, and then that's when the final price is determined. So we'll take the amount of BNB that gets that's purchased, and then the amount of tokens, and then you sort of divide it up, and then that's the determines the price. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I'm projecting about somewhere between 0.0005 as a price point and 0.0007. I do not think that we're going to have a problem meeting the soft cap. I do feel that we probably will meet the soft cap fairly easily. So I do feel like this project is going to go. But so that's the difference with in a fair launch, there's a soft cap and a hard cap, and the price is already set.
Awesome, very good. And another thing that I'd like to add about the fair launch is that it is fair launches on pink cells are real fair launches, because not even the dev can pre-buy those tokens. The moment that the fair launch starts, everyone has got the same access. There is no minimum buy, maximum buy. It's really fair. First, anyone can buy. So I love them. Personally, I love them.
I love them too, and and when I was going to do this one, I was like, I can't really see why you wouldn't, because the problem with, in my opinion, and as long as you get your projections right and you're really good at projecting, which I think I am, then there's no reason not to do them, because then that limits the people. It limits the amount that you can make, because if you have a hard cap of 1,000 BNB, what if 2,000 people want to buy? Then it's sold out and it's done. It's like, why would you want to limit yourself? To me, that's silly. So that's why I'm like, send a big amount, but don't go crazy, because you don't want the price to be, so low that that anybody else who's bought in or whatever, that it affects them. So you just want to be strategic, and you want to be smart, and you want to be able. I'm very inclusive. I want everybody to be able to participate. Like if people want to spend 2,000 BNB and then they want to buy Sifu, then perfect. I don't want to exclude anybody just because they were taking their dog for a walk and missed it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why I went with the fair launch. Yeah. And I think they're really fun, because there is an opportunity that you could get a really good price too. So I told all the people, that are holding there, I'm like, you guys, dollar cost average in, because you could, get a good price. So anyway.
Fantastic. All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I posted the link a couple of times as well. We need to move to community asking questions, because we only have time for a couple of questions, 3 questions.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us? By all means, before we ask them, or
let's ask the questions. This is what I'm here for. You guys ask me anything.
Okay, let's go. Community, please raise your hands. I need to ask you, please, to be brief with your questions. Only one, of course, because we have 50 people here and lots of hands. So let me have a look. We go with Sky first. So let me find Sky. There you are. I'm muted, Sky.
Hello, Miss.
Hello.
This is my question. Regarding about the current market is situation is too unstable. So can you give me some good reason why I should buy your token in this market situation?
Well, the market's up today. So I think it's a great time to buy it because when people have more money and more things, and they're going to buy in and they're going to ape into more stuff. And when they find out about Sifu Inu, I think you should get in right now because I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest with you. I think that once the word gets out about how fun these earns and burns are, and like that I'm live on YouTube every single day, and that you're getting airdropped 2 airdrops, and you could stake it. When you hear about all the features of this product that I've created, I think it's really gonna be like, whoa, you get it, you got in like really that early, you got in at the fair launch. People are gonna be like jealous. They're gonna be like, oh wow, I can't believe you got in so early, because I think that once the news spreads that how awesome it is, it could really take off. I mean, the moon is not the limit. I think we're like talking like Alpha Centauri or something like that. I mean, that's my goals, but yeah. So thanks for the question.
Awesome. Thank you, Sky.
Thanks for the answer.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, next one up, we have Crypto Legend. Let me find him. There he is. Unmuted Crypto Legend.
Yeah, thank you, Pip. I'm gonna say Damsel, you take a lot of energy drink. Yeah.
Coffee.
Since you said you love teaching, have you ever thought of maybe giving schools charity giveaways like the nursery part of schools?
Oh, that's a great idea. So I actually almost did a charity coin, and it turned out that it just wasn't enough. So I think by taking some of the profits from the 2%, that giving to charity is very, very important. And Toyota used to do this thing called 100 Cars for Good, and they actually vetted all of the charities to make sure that it wasn't 90% going to like the founder's pocket kind of thing. And so they vetted them all and made sure that the charities were good charities, and then we would vote on them, and they'd give a car to the deserving charity every day. So I have a list of charities that I am actually already planning on giving to, and there are some schools, and there's some really great ones included in there, like schools for children who are like kind of in hiding from like abusive parents and that kind of thing, and like what was one of the other ones? Schools for people who are in Reformation, maybe got in troubled youth, like they were in like in jail or something when they were in their youth, and then they got out and they want to get back into the workforce, but they've had no training or anything like that. So that kind of schools. It's called Homeboy. And there's a whole list, and it's actually published online. So if you wanted to see the charities that I'm going to be giving to, it would be the ones that were participated in the Toyota's 100 Cars for Good. So yeah, I have thought about it. It's a good question. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah,
thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to hear women. I love all the girls in here. Yay.
Lots of girls. Let's go with not a girl, I think. Snowman. Because it says man, but you never know. You never know. Snowman, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay. My question really is just in terms of your token, where you say you all know the value of the token is very important to the investors. So my question is how do you plan to maintain the value of your token when it comes to day-to-day changes of market?
To maintain it, to keep the value up.
Oh, okay, by burning. So so burning it out of scarcity, or by doing buybacks. So there's two things: buying back out of circulating supply to keep the price up. Education, I plan on doing lots of education to bring in new faces, marketing to keep bringing faces in, because if you get new investors, there's some marketing statement that I heard the other day. Oh no, it's actually in one of my economic videos I was binge watching. It said that the first time you buy a new car is like, you know, it's much more exciting than the second time or the third time or whatever. So it's really important to keep bringing in new faces. So by doing that, I mean, it's kind of pretty much everything I talked about today are all the reasons why it's going to continue to be successful and keep the price up. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for asking. And we've got time, I think, at least for one more. Rising Star. Unmute Rising Star.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, Rising.
Hi. How are you doing?
Good. Hi. I remember you.
I really, really, really love you so much. For one thing, you're realizing about the project, your love for the community, it's superb. So let's get down to my question. It's something more like a personal question, yeah. So I want to ask you, during the time when your project failed on AVAX, how did you feel? And what was your driving force to get up, pick up the pieces of your lost project and continue?
Well, that is a great question. That is a great question. So it was really difficult because I haven't really shared it publicly yet, but I had gotten some very bad advice, and it just sort of a snowballed effect. I didn't realize that pushing the fair launch to finalize the fair launch would launch the token, and I was advised by somebody who was a partner and has worked with Pink Sale, and I figured that they actually knew what they were doing, and maybe there was some miscommunication. Anyway, they gave me some bad advice and then more bad advice, and I was actually on a call with them when all of this was unraveling, and my phone was blowing up. You're live. I'm like, no, we're not, you know, and we were like talking about like websites and that kind of thing, and then like that happened, and then the taxes were uncovered not to work, and anyway, it was very, very difficult. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I have not cried like that since my dog got, you know, hit by a car when I was 10 years old. I was sobbing, like not like a tear when you cry, like I was like, oh, like I was dying because I felt so bad, because it's not only that, it's like I worked so incredibly hard, and we had just had such a successful like fair launch and everything like that. But I will tell you, my marketer, and I don't see him on here, he was on the last call, Karan, is so amazing. And he said, hey, look, you know what? This happens all the time. Things happen. We have he's like, just stay offline, because people are going to be like hating you right now. We have some people that'll go in there and delete all the terrible, you know, things or whatever. And in 3 or 4 days, we'll have turned this around and we'll just migrate over to the Binance Smart Chain and everything will be fine. And, I knew I couldn't just drop it. I'm like, I have so much of my own money invested. I have so much of my own time and my passion, and this is like everything. There was no way that I was just going to walk away from it. You know, there's just no way. So I was just like, how am I going to do this and pick up the pieces and move forward? And just hearing Karan say that it happens all the time, and just, he gave me such a good hope. He's like, just forget it. I've got people in there that take care of everything, and just put it down for today. And then tomorrow, talk to your dev, talk to some people, and we'll get in there and we will figure it out, and we will launch a new project on the Binance Smart Chain. And so he really like gave me hope and inspired me. And with all of my learning and everything, I was able to, you know, just with my DeFi experience, I was just like able to know that, okay, I can just airdrop everybody the tokens. I can do this. Like I didn't want to encumber anybody. I felt so badly because I unlike, you know, some people, like I have a conscience, like I want us all to make money. Those billionaires, those 1%ers have plenty of money to share with all of us. I want us all to make money. And like, so I was disappointed. I have my friends, like my kids' friends' parents invested, you know, like there's just no way, like I can't not be successful. So failure wasn't an option. So I sort of had to have my little cry and then pick up myself by the bootstraps and figure it out and move forward. And it was not easy. I mean, I spent 4 days testing this stuff. I did not know Web3. I did not know Remix. I did not know Solidity computer code, but now I do. So I just dug right in and put myself up, and now I can't stop smiling ear to ear because I feel like it's no best, only better, continuous improvement, and this is so much better and so much more awesome than what we had before that I can't actually say that I'm disappointed. It was good to have that little cry. It was good, but you know, I said in one of my AMAs, I said, I wish we were on the Binance Smart Chain. So now I've been saying, be careful what you wish for. But seriously, I'm actually so happy. This is so much better. It's going to be so much easier and so much more successful for the rest of the world to sort of invest in it and for us to grow. And it's good that all of this happened. I'm actually happy for it and glad. But thanks for that question. That was really sweet.
Thanks, Rising Star.
Thank you so much. You're actually a motivation.
Thank you. Thanks, Rising. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, this is all the time we have for today for the questions, but I've posted the Telegram channel link for Sifu Inu Official. Please do join the channel, and please stay until the very, 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 very end of the AMA in the next 1 minute or 2 minutes, because today, surprise, surprise, we're not going to have a secret question. We're going to take a screenshot of the people that have remained here until the very end and divide the prize between them and those that ask the best questions. We're going to do that later, though, because right after this, there's going to be an AMA on Pincel, which I have to host. So please, guys, don't worry about it. I will do the random pick of the names, and if you're in Europe or Africa, when you wake up, you will see whether you won or not. But I want to thank you, community, for being here, and Defi Damsel, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'd love to leave the microphone to you for your last comments.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And thank you everyone for being here. And those of you that stayed to the end, I really appreciate it. All the great questions and everything. And like, I just want to say, I'm really approachable. So I'm on all the socials. I'm really active in Telegram. So don't hesitate to come ask anything that you want. And yeah, I look forward to you guys joining me on this rocket ship to the moon. So thanks for having me. Thanks for being here. And hopefully we'll see you again.
Awesome. Thank you. All the best with the pre-sale and, of course, with the project.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now I'm taking the screenshot, guys. So I hope you're still here.
Good luck, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Second one. Okay, let me do it again now that she's gone. So 1, 2, and 3. Done. I'll see you all later, guys. Thank you.